So I went to go see Lucy, the movie. It's a little different. So Lucy's written and directed by Luc Besson, who I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with. I mean, on the one hand, he wrote and directed some fun, entertaining movies, like Leon the Professional, Subway, La Femme Nikita, and my personal favorite of the bunch, The Fifth Element. He also wrote some really fun things, like the first couple Transporter movies, Taken, the French version of District 14. On the other hand, he also brought us last year's movie, The Family, which I didn't much care for, and more importantly, he brought us the entire series of Arthur and the Invisibles. The Man Must Pay. And anywho, the film stars Scarlett Johansson as the titular Lucy. Then there's Morgan Freeman as Professor Norman. He does that sort of extended cameo thing that he does so well. And then there's the Korean actor Choi Min-sik as the evil Mr. Jang. And really, I mean, there's some other folks who have a little bit more of a hefty role to them, but you don't really care about them. I don't remember their names beyond like 2 seconds after walking out of the film. Honestly, in some cases, I don't remember their names from their introductory scene to the next one. They're sort of just there. So the general idea behind the movie is Scarlett Johansson's Lucy is a college student in Hong Kong. She gets in with a bad crowd and ends up being forced to act as a drug mule for a weird synthetic version of a natural human hormone produced during childbirth. That in childhood, like in childbirth, it makes the fetus develop really quickly. In adults, it does something really unspecified. I'm not really sure why the bad guys are so insistent on getting it back that they'll, like, raid police offices with rocket launchers and stuff like that, but apparently they are. And then, if you're the drug mule and the bag leaks while it's in your body, it makes you into hyper-intelligent, almost God. So Scarlett Johansson, the bag leaks, the bad guys are chasing after her. If she doesn't get more of the substance, she actually disintegrates, and things happen. It's kind of a mess. There's all sorts of weird plot holes. Like, for instance, why does the drug even exist? Who would even remotely think that a hormone in the human body that encourages cell division would make a recreational drug in adults? Well, I don't know. It makes no sense. But then again, none of the science in this movie makes sense. I mean, I gotta hand it to Morgan Freeman. There are only so many actors out there that could spout complete and utter bullshit and have it work the way he makes it work in this film. I mean, he's spouting just weird stuff. And, you know, you're like, okay, yeah, sure, you know, the way you presented that, okay, I'll buy it for this movie. So kudos to Morgan Freeman. Scarlett Johansson, it's a shame. She is an honestly good actress. She really is. But in this movie, for some reason, Luc Besson decided to make the main character just a complete and utter emotional void. She has nothing. Like, as soon as, you know, her brain's capacity reaches like 20%, she loses all emotions and things that make her human. And that can work in a film like say, RoboCop, for example, okay? You know, he's walking around, he's an emotionless robot. But part of the development of the story is like seeing the humanity still inside him and things like that, and you don't get any of that in this film. Scarlett Johansson is just sort of evolved beyond emotions, and so she walks around like a weird automaton for most of the film. I mean, she does it well, but it makes for a very dull, uninteresting character to watch. And the visuals. Luc Besson does some really cool things with visuals, but you sort of get lost in why we're seeing it or what exactly in some cases. In other cases, it just works. It's really cool looking. Like there's, particularly when it's when it's about the psychokinetic stuff. Like, there's one scene where someone goes to kick Scarlett Johansson, and he's just sort of lifted to the ceiling by his foot, and there's a whole bunch of other guys who do kind of the same thing. Or someone's trying to run away, and he just runs into like a wall of nothingness, and he's trying to... It looks really cool. But on the other hand, earlier in the film, for instance, there's a scene where a bunch of thugs are sort of cornering Scarlett Johansson's character, Lucy, and that scene is interspersed with a scene of cheetahs attacking gazelles on the Serengeti, or on the plains of Africa, wherever cheetahs exist. And it's just weird. Like, there's also an instance where Morgan Freeman is delivering a speech to a bunch of students and other professors, and he's talking about how the purpose of life for cells is to divide and pass on information, which is a big thrust of the film. And his dialogue is sort of set as the background to a montage of animals having sex and then giving birth, for some reason. It's just a little weird. And then at the very end, there's scenes that are just ripped out of other films. Like, there's a scene that is the white room from The Matrix, you know, where it's just like that white nothingness void. It's there for no reason, then I guess it looks cool. And then there's a scene that also, it just looks so much like the finale of Akira. It's the finale of Akira. What happens to what is it, Tetsuo at the end, or is that but it's that. It's like Luc Besson had a whole bunch of really cool visuals that he thought of himself, and he saw in like wildlife photography, and he saw in other movies, and he just sort of threw them all together into one film. It's a gigantic mess. So yeah, it's a mess. The story is not that great. The plot has gaping holes. On the other hand, it's a fun mess. It's well acted. The action is pretty decent. The visuals are great. Some of them are incredibly out of place and strange, but very, very well done visuals. On the other hand, the science is absolutely laughably bad. Just terrible, terrible pseudoscience. But I can't really encourage anyone to go see it. I mean, it was fun enough, and honestly, it was kind of unintentionally funny in several cases, so like my entire theater just laughed at a lot of bits, just because it was so weird. But it's not something that you should really go out and see. I see it on like Sci-Fi or HBO or rent it or something like that, but don't go see it in the theaters. It's a shame. I was kind of hoping it would be better than it was, but what can you do? Until next time, folks, enjoy film.